What's up YouTube? Welcome back to Homebrew Subaru. Today I'm going to concentrate on the paint of the Forester. As you can see, the classic metallic silver paint job is just not holding up anymore. And yes, this is all clear coat separation. This has basically happened over the last couple of years. It was just a small section of missing clear coat at the top, and eventually the elements got underneath and just started to split the whole thing like a sheet. Holy fuck, look at this. All these little rock chips have started the clear coat lifting just about everywhere. You can see in here it's ready to come right off too. So the hood's in pretty bad shape, lots of rock chips over the years. I have a feeling that it likely went into a ditch or someone T-boned it a little bit, and that's where some of the structural damage in the front here has made the rust build up and rust on the left side of the vehicle. I can tell the front bumper had been changed for an aftermarket, and definitely the left headlight had been changed. The hood is also kinked on this corner, but it's an aluminum hood and going to be very difficult to straighten. This whole front corner of the bumper is crushed in, and I got it out to this point. I'd actually like your guys' opinion on how I should do that. Should I just take that rocker guard and go right over the bumper and do all the molding and cladding as well? Should I leave it as is for now? Which I probably will for now. But I kind of like to get your guys' feeling on what I should do with the bumper. Now this fender had actually popped on when I first bought the Forester. You can see this scratch going down the driver's door. I kind of had that buffed out before, but it's come back. But it literally gouged right into the old fender, like really bad. And then it also had a strike right across the top here, which kinked it in here. I threw that fender on and I got a video paint the fender 3 times because that's what ended up happening. And that stuff is just flaking off like the clear coat is now. So basically I want to clean up and paint the fenders, the hood, and the roof, and just give them the same kind of matching black paint job that I have on the Impreza, and almost kind of match the two vehicles together, I guess. And yeah, I'm a cheap bastard, but I'm not spending more than a couple $100 on a paint job for a 20-year-old vehicle. And let's get started. Of course they would just fucking break off, like, you know, why wouldn't they break? Going to need some new hardware there. With the front of it apart, you can see that the radiator support has been replaced before, and it's been welded in place. This front corner is not too bad looking because I've already addressed this years ago. I wired brushed all in here and did spray it. Of course, some of the rust is coming back. I did all that when I replaced this fender, and mind you, that's like 8 years ago I cleaned that up. Over on this side, you can kind of see what the story is. So where the welds were made, got really crispy in here, and the fender support, this little support bracket that comes off the fender to the body, is really rotten, quite weak, and I'm thinking I may actually pop that fender off and cut that piece out of there and make something new. And even down here, these welds are starting to rust out pretty bad. Because this is all relatively straight, I won't be spending a lot of time in here, just enough to clean up some of this rust. I think next I'm probably going to pop this fender off. Here we go. That's 2. I saved one of them. Starting to get a little concerned on what this fender looks like on the inside. Now there is one or two more bolts. No, that's not gonna happen. There's like nothing left of the head of it. It's like two plastic retainers that push up into the fender, and the screws go through the bumper cover and up into those plastic retainers. I think if I just cut the back side off of them, should be able to get this off. Hopefully I didn't get you guys with that. Sometimes you gotta live on the wild side. There's just this one little piece that does not want to push through. Okay, let's go have a look at this mess. See what's going on with it. Kind of wonder if it's an aftermarket from, like, you know, 15 years ago or something. Just the black color and the sticker and the overspray that I can kind of see everywhere. But, you know, maybe just the way they had it attached here up in the front and didn't treat it properly, the rust started to bleed, and it's just taken, you know, 15 years to do all this. Maybe not. Maybe it is a 20-year-old original fender. It's a good possibility. But in any case, a lot of this is just surface stuff. Nothing really too porous up in here. This bracket here, obviously, the one that I had to cut originally. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to have to probably cut this right back and then, I don't know, think of something to kind of put in there to replace it. After getting a really good look at it, I even contemplated just getting a aftermarket replacement fender, but for the time I would have to wait to get one and the money I would spend, I might as well just spend my time and clean this one up. It's nice and straight and usable. So now, as for the vehicle side of things, you wouldn't think that fender came off this Forester, but you know, just up in this corner where, you know, it attached, there's obviously some rust, but all up in here it's really nice and clean. Nothing really going on at all. And even down in that little dog leg down on the bottom, which likes to rust out, I mean, it's spotless down in there, really. Just like I was doing under the hood, I'm not going to bother showing all this rust removal on camera. It's just, it's too dirty of work. The dust fills in the air too bad. I'm probably going to take that fender outside and do it outside just to try and keep the dust level down in here a little bit. I've already made it dusty and I've got a lot of paint to remove, so going to be a lot more dust. So I did take the fender outside and use the angle grinder with that wire brush to clean all that heavy rust off. And it had built up quite thick in here. Don't mind my hand. I've got a little, I'll leave a little snippet at the end of the video. See what happened there. Yeah, so I cleaned up all the rust. I brought it inside and just used that little wire brush to clean it up a little bit more. And then used the rust converter to try and penetrate what was left. And it's gotten in there pretty good. I think I can coat that and be satisfied that it's not going to rot through in the next few years anyway. I went along the front and kind of did the same thing here. It's really hard to get into some of those areas, even just using the hand brush. But I did run the wire brush over all the welds, clean them up as best I can, and then hit everything with the rust converter. Went right along the entire front, just kind of hitting everything that was noticeable. Got this side really good, so it's cleaned right up. The same treatment down on the lower rod support. Went over it with the wire brush and then hit it with the rust converter. Kind of still got some little rusty spots for whatever reason. I think it's just the color of the rust converter because it's very red in color and it just stains that way. I'll just take a wire brush to kind of clean up all the loose stuff that might be left over, and then I'm going to get ready to coat everything. Now, yesterday I did take the day off, but I did still come out here to give this a good spray. So I've coated all of the areas in the front, the lower rod support, and just everything around the grille and headlight area. Make sure it's all sealed in there. I didn't want to spend a lot of time. I had to let my hand heal up at least one day. The inside of the fender's been heavily coated as well, so it should last a few years. I shouldn't see any rust really coming out of it. I still do have to weld up a bracket for here to attach to the body again, but I'll kind of wait until I get a little further along. I'm kind of ready to step on to sanding. So I did order an entire assortment of sanding discs for the palm sander in all different grits. So that should speed up the process a little bit. The headlight surrounds and the grill, I'm probably going to have to sand that stuff out by hand, and I do have a lot of sandpaper to do that as well. But I think first I'm going to start on the hood just to kind of get a feel for it, grind out some of these really deep rock chips, and get rid of a bunch of the clear coat, and then put the palm sander to it just to get a feel of how this is going to go. Now I am so glad that I had the palm sander this time around, because this has taken me so long. It's almost as much time as I put into the Impreza, and the Impreza I sanded by hand. A couple things going on here. I noticed the roof. You can kind of see this texture in here, and it's sanded nice and smooth, but what it basically is, I think, was going on with the roof here. Painter had so much orange peel that they laid like, I don't know, 3 coats of clear on top. So that's why these great big sheets of clear coat are coming off, for one. And then you can literally see getting sanded down past the clear and into the paint, and then around the paint on some of these areas, but how much actually bumpiness was left in there. And some of these sections just kept on getting larger and larger and larger, trying to get a feather edge going on the clear coat. It just got to the point of being ridiculous. Over on that passenger side near the back, and then maybe a little bit over here, there's actually some bubbling, and I did find some rust spots. There was actually a rust spot over here on the front corner that I got out. And then this top edge, there was a bunch of clear coat starting to bubble as well. And then a couple little spots I noticed there was a couple of rock hits where the rust was starting to come through. Now this fender is a whole other story. This is my fault. So I applied way too much paint, and then whatever primer I used wasn't like wasn't like primer for metal or something, because it just pretty much didn't stick at all and was flaking off. The first section was right here, but as I kept on going, the paint was like just coming loose and flaking off. You can see how much of it's on the floor here. And then over here I just lightly touched the door, so it's made me decide to remove the fender, and I'll finish sanding it and painting it while it's off the Forester. And if you're wondering, I have been wearing the same jacket and pants this entire build. They will not be going into my laundry. They will be going directly into the garbage. This jacket I actually Kind of lit it up with when I was grinding at one point and almost caught myself on fire. I've sanded everything that's going to be painted down to 80 grit. Now there's a whole secondary session of sanding, and I'm not going to bother putting you guys through it. I'm actually wore out myself. Just even using that palm sander has really actually worn me out. There is a lot more to do that fender, and I do have to take it off. And then I'm hoping I should be prepared for next week to actually prime and paint. So if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here and you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button for me. Leave your questions and comments further down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Just remember, it ain't all fun and games out here. Put your fucking gloves on, Space Monkey. And all these years we've been friends.
Sometimes you gotta live on the wild side.
Oh! But if you're wearing gloves, that won't happen.